This is a trade setup we're looking for today. So if I have to put the trade on for you, it would look like this. And let me just get the long positions. We're looking for a buy here, a stop just under the low, and target way up to the top there. Now, it's not going to go in one single move. So there'll probably be, these are sharp moves, but you don't get that every time. It probably will go slow like this, a sharp move up, and then slowly like this, if it goes. So what's the analysis for that trade? Why would I want to buy this when it's actually going down? You may say, well, what if it comes down to the bottom here? Well, if it keeps going down to the bottom there, the likelihood is I wouldn't be tagged in this trade. And why am I not selling it if it's going down? Well, because I look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture tells me, based on the method I'm using to analyze the charts, wave analysis, that the likelihood is that it's going to go up, that the likelihood there's a very big move coming to break this top. So that is a trade I'm trying to get to see whether I can get this move to the upside rather than these little moves to the downside that is just going to be break-even trades or a nervous breakdown if you have to stay with it to see if it comes retest this low. Now, what if it comes slowly like that, retest this low? No big deal. I'll just wait for it to make an impulse, a flag, and I'll be buying it for that one. Now, because I'm waiting for an impulse and a flag, the probability of me being in the trade when it's going down is very little. If I do get tagged and it goes down, we have methods of how we're going to, and very strict rules and methods of how we're going to exit that trade. So let's say this trade is to come and tag me here and then decide to reverse. I will be out of that trade for a break even. Now, that is what we call trade management, and it's one of the most important things we do in our trading. Now, that is where you actually becomes a trader. I've mentioned this many times, but I'll repeat it again. This is what makes your trade. It's not getting a good trade that makes your trader. A good trade was this one. And we actually took that trade in a room. If you were in our live trading room, you would see us putting an entry here for this trade to go up slowly like this, but it actually went really fast, which was amazing. That's a good trade. You don't have to do anything. It will take care of itself. You just have to take profit. Your problem, your big issues as a trader is how you manage trades that do not go, that tag you but do not go. So we're still expecting this to go up. But what if it tags me here and it doesn't go? Then it's my job as a trader to get the hell out of that for as little loss as possible. That is what differentiates what we do in our trading room on a daily basis. This is my third session for the day. I'm actually alone here, I'm not in the trading room. We have done two live sessions this morning, one in Asian and one in London. And we have one just after I finish here. There will be a New York session starting at 3:45 my time. That would be 7:45 a.m. New York time. So in these live sessions, we update all these charts as we go. And you get to see all these trade setups and how you manage them if you're tagged in them, or if they take you and go like this, and this is your profit. Right? So I wanted to show you this trade because it's important. It's pretty important you understand how we do and what we do. And it's important that you understand that trading is difficult. If you're trading wave analysis, well, it doesn't matter what you're trading, basically. Most times, and I would say 80%, that you will be tagged in that trade and it will pull back against you. That's most times. And if you don't know what to do, most traders panic and end up taking losses. That's how 90% of traders lose their account. Not knowing what to do. It's not because they can't find a good trade. A lot of them find a good trade, and you will see all those good trades posted on YouTube and on Instagram and all over the place, all the social network, Facebook, you'll see those fancy, nice trades post. One trade, one nice, good trade like this one, right? That would have been out on Instagram and on Facebook and all over. Yeah. After the fact, they will show you what a nice trade they get. It's about doing it before. Trading is forecasting. That's one. Two is how you manage your bad trades. That's the second. And three is how you manage your money. So if you can do all of that, you're in a good track. You're in the right track. So I'm expecting this to go here. It might not go in one move. It should probably do this as it goes. You can see that this one didn't go in a straight line. It got to make a lot of pullback and then go. That is the trade we're looking for today. And maybe by this afternoon, we will no longer have that entry. We will close that entry, which means if it doesn't go the way I expect it to go, put it on the 15, you can see what it's doing. On the 15 minutes, you can see that it's kind of looking like it's consolidating here. This was a consolidation. If you wanted to sell it, that's a break-even trade. This might drop here and do the same thing and drop here and do the same thing. And if it starts doing this, we'll just pull this entry or we'll move the entry downwards. and it will change. So by the time you get this video and you watch it, especially if you see it one day after I post it, that entry is no longer valid. It's either finished, the move is finished, we got out of it, it tagged us and we got out of it, or for all you know, we never got in that trade and we removed the entry. So trading, if you're trading as a day trader, if you're trading as a short-term trader, you need to have live updates more than once a day because it could change. Okay, good morning or good afternoon, depends on where you are. My name is Daniel Mangle, and let's go. We'll start with the dollar index. With the dollar index, as you can see, it's coming down, and there's a very good chance we're going to break this low. We might even break this low. So if we come and break these lows, what happens at that point? At that point, it could either continue to go or it could go right back up. Well, why would I think it's going to go right back up? Because we're looking at a bigger structure again, and I explained this many times. This is a relatively sharp move. In terms of wave analysis, that's a relatively sharp move at the 4-hour. So this can come down here a little and then literally do something like that, creating what we call a running flat pattern. Now, why would those patterns create it? Well, I can explain that again. That would take too long. So basically, as they get to these points, as they go down, sell orders run out. Either there are less sell orders and more buy orders, or just a lot of buy orders coming and the sell orders are being gobbled up and go back up. Why does that happen? I don't know. The market moves like that. And the market moves like that all the time. If you go back and you can see, right? Sharp wave up, match it running flat. You can find them every single place. Look at this move, right? You got this move done, you get a move, you see that started to happen, you look at it, you get a running flat. You get them all over the place and all the time, and eventually you get some really huge ones, right? You can go back, I can show you, thousands of those all the time in the entire chart. The chart keeps pulling back, right? People say it corrects itself, the market corrects itself, you call it whatever you want, right? What we do is we see whether they're known patterns, whether we can recognize that as a pattern, and if we recognize this as a pattern, how it's going to behave. So when I come here and I see this, I'm thinking, well, is this something that could create a pattern for me? And I'm thinking, yeah, we can sell this, but we'll be careful because at some point you can do this and create this pattern and then drop. So we're selling right now, but with caution, with a lot of caution. And I'll show you why on the other major currencies that this has a probability of breaking the low and go back up. Now, can it go back up without breaking the low? I think that is I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's pretty unlikely because you can see that you have a smaller running flat here and the chances are this is going to drop. So if I have to trade this will be a sell setup here. That means if you go, I can show you a buy setup on the Pong immediately. As you can see, there's a buy setup right now in the Pong that is active for my traders. We're thinking this can go somewhere. So that's a buy setup right there. A lot of my traders, including myself, will be in this trade. And then we'll watch it go. We'll manage the trade if it starts to pull back because the likelihood is it will pull back. And they always will tag you and pull back. It's not just about the pullback, it's whether it's going to reverse that we will be worried about. So this one, I don't think it's going to go very long term. I think you might just get a sharp move up, maybe something like this, probably a little more like that. And then, you might start to come down back. Right? Because it's going up, but it's going up with a lot of corrections, very deep corrections. See, very deep corrections all over. And at this point, that might not be a very big move up before you actually get a deeper correction. So we'll see. That's a trade. Like I said, taking the trades, you must. It's how you manage them if they don't go. Because I don't know the outcome of this trade. And if you think you know the outcome of this trade, you're in trouble, right? We know for sure that when you get patterns like this, they tend to break the top. That's what we know for sure. How far this is going to go is what we don't know. And that is why we manage this trade. We can make an assumption as to how far we think it's going to go. The reason we take the trade is because I believe we'll get an impulse like this. Now, if we get that impulse, great. If we don't, I'll be out of the trade. See? It's already moving. Euro. Pretty much the same thing. We waited for this to pull back this morning in my webinar. I told my traders, wait for it to pull back. Don't take the trade. When it pull back, it gives you this running flat. Put an entry above the top. Put a stop here. Go for that trade. That is the trade we are going for. Now, this one is a little different because we're not going very high. We're just going for it to break the top. And I believe as soon as you break that top, you have to be very, very careful because you are looking at a possible reversal. Once you break that top, you're looking at a possibility of it coming back really sharp to the downside. So this would be the trade. Break this top here and then back to the bottom. So, well, if it keeps going, all you're going to do is move your stop, right? But the probability of that coming back, you can see in this whole thing, is pretty high. So once you got tagged in that trade, you'll watch it very, very carefully. All right, so let's go. 15 minutes, that's your entry. I would put a stop here, and I would manage that trade if it doesn't go. That's what we do in our trading room. I'm not telling you to take any trade. Let's go Pong. Pong is already a trade. I showed you silver. I missed the silver. Silver will probably be a trade now that it has come down this much. There's a flat here. There's a small flat here. It's probably will make another flat here and then probably go. I wouldn't be buying silvers yet, but above this top, yeah, there's a chance we're coming back to that top. Gold. Gold definitely wouldn't be looking for a buy. As you notice, we even have a sell set up here in the gold. It's going up, but look at the way gold is going up. Look at the way the euro and the pound is going up. See the difference? Huge. So this buy is off. That buy was only for this small flat here. That was for this small flat. If this one would have broken and dropped. Now that it has gone up to the top, it will come back here. And now this would be a short-term buy setup. But I need it to pull back. I need this to pull back to this. You see the small flat here? Yeah, I need this to pull back here. And then we have a short-term buy setup, which means just probably doing this and then coming down. Not big moves to the upside. The bigger moves are in the pound and the euro, not in this one. Aussie. Let me show you the Aussie, what we're doing. Aussie is going up, but be careful with Aussie at the top here. From here, you can get a really big drop. If you go back to my last 2 webinars or 3 webinars that I did, I've been showing you the Aussie pairs, and I've been explaining to you how this corrective structure is changing. It's something I call the ever-changing pattern. That's a new concept. The ever-changing pattern. What it means is that a simple pattern turns into a more complex pattern, into a more complex pattern, into a more complex pattern. That does not stop you from trading. Not to the upside, not to the downside, as long as you understand the complexity of the development of the patterns. So we were selling it, and you can go back and check my webinar starting from the top there, we were selling. I told you this would be a flat and we will sell it, and we sell it. I told you as it comes to the bottom, we were expecting it to break out, but we would be careful because patterns tend to be complex. Now, if you didn't know what I mean by being careful, now you understand what I mean by being careful. Because now at this here, it can go back. And I'm going to tell you the same thing now. As it comes to the top here, you have to be really careful because the probability of this dropping has just increased. That is vastly increased because we're still in this consolidation. And by that, I mean we have a very sharp move coming down into that consolidation. It doesn't matter how long they consolidate in here. They can consolidate for as long as possible. The longer you stay in this consolidation, look at this one. See this one? That's a huge consolidation. Look what happens after that consolidation. We're making a smaller version of that consolidation here. See this? It comes this way into the consolidation. It goes that side out of the consolidation. You come this way into the consolidation. You go that way out of the consolidation. So we're coming this way into this consolidation. And if this is anything that we understood about wave analysis, the higher probabilities we go this way out of the consolidation, after which we'll be going back up. I don't even think we're going to come this much. I believe we'll just break this low and go right back up. Right? So I'll put this a little higher. That is, I was explaining something else to the traders and showing them where this low is and the probability of it getting there is very rare. So from the top here, we'll be looking for trades coming down to the bottom. We're not just going to sell the top. Don't ever try to do that. You don't know where the top is. This morning, it was a buy in the Asian session. If traders were there, you could have bought this in the Asian session. See that consolidation there? It comes in, it goes out. That was a buy. But as it comes to the top here, even if it makes a consolidation here, I'm not buying it. I'll allow it to break the top, and then I'm looking for a sell. So I wanted to break that top, and then I'm looking for a sell setup to the downside. Well, let's see if we get that trade. New Zealand, also going up to the top of the consolidation. I think this is the bigger consolidation. We are pretty much at the top of this move here. I was expecting New Zealand to be more of a running flat with this 1, 2, 3, and then go back down. I think I mentioned that. And the probability of it going back up after that would have been a good idea. Now it's not a running flat, but can it still be an expanding flat? That is a possibility where you would look at this as a much bigger move than this one. You get an expansion of that one, and then it comes down here. What changes that? Nothing really is as yet until you start breaking the tops here and making deeper consolidation for upside. So as of now, if you're in the buy in this, which you could have been in, you have to be cautious as it comes to the top. But if it comes to the top or anywhere, even now, if you get a sell setup, which means if this is the drop in the New York session and create the flag, we will be selling that. If it goes up to the top, drop, and then create the flag, we'll be selling it. So we will be looking for that sell setup to the downside. Because this, again, is the same thing like the New York, like the Aussie. I'm thinking of the New York session. Of the Aussies, you get a move come into it and you're starting to consolidate in this range. They can, this can stay here for a while, but eventually going this way. And I can show you one of that as well. You might say, well, what proof you have of that behaving like that? Well, we have this one. If you like that one, we came in this way, we went down that way. Well, forget about that one. Let's think about this one. 1, 2, 3. We have a 1, we have a 2. Are we going for a 3 here? If that's a 3, then is it ready for a drop? Right? And you can see the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. But these are classical ones. This is a classical flat. That's a running flat or regular flat. This is a running flat. This would be a regular flat if it breaks the top. If it doesn't break the top, it means we're making a more complex flat. Coming down and then going further. So buying at the top there is not a great idea. In terms of risk to reward, in terms of where you are in the patterns, all of that makes it not such a great idea. But selling it, maybe in the New York session, would be a great idea. So let's go. Yen. We're looking for a sell setup short term here. I would expect this to drop here. I'm expecting it to drop here and then go back up. But you know, this Aussie is going up, Euro is going up, Pound is going up, and so is yen at the moment. Very slow, but it's going upwards. Really, really slow, but it's going upwards. You can see that this movement is going upwards, not down. That's upwards in a consolidation, right? You can see it's trying to go up in a consolidation. It might even break this top here. As you can see, there's a good chance that they'll go break that top. This one is going to consolidate here, go break that top. It might even do a few more of this, but then the bigger picture is downside. Now, if you can trade this, good luck to you. That's not a bad trade, buying here, closing here. If you can do that, then okay, that's a very nice small trade. If you're looking for a bigger trade with better risk to rewards in them, you're waiting for this to finish what it do and then go for this trade to the downside. The trade we'll be looking for is more like this. You got 1, 2, 3, and then upside. So can this drop this afternoon in the New York session? Just the yen dropping? That has happened pretty often. We can see just the yen dropping, and that would make a good trade for not just the dollar yet, but all the yen pairs. So keep your eyes on the yen pairs and this starting to fall. If it's going up, there isn't any good trade in it. Like I said, those are very small trades. They wouldn't give you good risk to reward, but you can trade them. CAD. I think this was a surprise because I was expecting CAD to make more of a flat here and then go up. And this one just kept going down. So there's a good chance, I think you remember me calling this a contracting flat because we didn't break the low the previous one. And we thought, well, we're starting that up move and it's going to go break the top. That is why I don't like contracting flats and I never forecast them because they're always dangerous. And if you've been watching me for a while, you would know I don't like focusing contracting flats because all contracting flats either become running flats or regular flats in the future. So this one here is coming down and there's a good chance it's just going to be a regular flat with a deep pullback in this last impulse, which is a surprise, very deep. Come back, break this low, and then go back up. So there's a very good chance we're looking at a 1, 2, 3. Now you would remember this one, the forecast of this coming to break the top and then drop. If you don't, go back and see when we were doing this, any webinar within this period, you would hear me say they're coming down, but eventually we'll go break that top and then come back here and then go back up. Though you see this upside, you'll come back and watch us in any other webinar in the future to see that happens because you're making a consolidation here for upside. We've had those consolidations. We had this one. We're getting this one. And these are upside moves. Right? You can literally see the consolidation. You can know which direction they go. Here is a number of them. A sharp move in, a consolidation this, and a consolidation out. This one wasn't exactly a sharp move, but once they started consolidate here, you pretty much realize they're going up. This one was pretty sharp with a lot of small consolidations. So I expect this to go up one more, probably break the stop, and then we'll see what happens from there. What is the trade of the day? Well, there's no trade in it. Literally, there's no trade. Even if you want to sell it, you have to wait for it to make a correction or a flag. So you would literally have to wait for this to make something like this, and then you would get a sell. Something like this, and then you'd get a sell set up for the trader. So no trade in this one. Okay, let's go. What else are we looking at? Let's see. I think I've covered the majors. I'll cover Bitcoin for you. 1 second. Let me see. Get Bitcoin here. I'll cover Bitcoin for you. So we're looking at Bitcoin here. And we're looking at this. And as you can see, we have a 1, 2, 3. This was a sell setup. By the way, I did a webinar for a group of traders over the weekend on cryptocurrencies. And if you go back, they don't have a recording of that. I wish we could have recorded, but I did it on their platform, so we couldn't record it. This, as you see, was an entry order for a sell for it to come and break this low. And I showed them my forecast for the rest of what I think could happen to Bitcoin. I believe it should go back up because we're looking at this move up. I believe it should come back down because we're looking at this move down. And I believe it should go back up because we're looking at this one. And I believe it should come back down and then go. So it will consolidate in this range for a period of time, and then it should take off to the upside, right? Is there a chance it can drop much deeper? Well, if it's going to drop much deeper, I would wait for this to pull back here and then watch the last move, this last move down, see how far that goes. Because if that keeps going way beyond this, it needs to break the low and turn. If it keeps going, well, then yes, the big drop could happen. This will still be one correction downside. So on the last move of the upside to go down, which means if you want to sell it, you can sell any of the top coming down. Not the last one, though, because you'll get yourself in trouble. Right? So, I mean, when it's going up, wait for the setups. And if they give you a sell setup, take the trade. What else I can show you? I can show you XRP. Like I said, most of these trades that I'm showing you now would change by the time we come. So what is this trade here? I think you can see, right? So watch the line direction. See this line here? When I did it for them, it was here. And I said to them, this consolidation here needs to go and break that top. See, 1, 2, 3. It's not a buy setup as such, but if you're going to buy it, you have to be careful because it can go higher. But most likely, if that becomes a flat, you're coming down here. So like you're coming down for 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to get 1, 2, 3. It's going to go back up. I expect this to go back up, make a flat, and then you're going to get one more down. Very likely you're going to get one more down. And when it makes that one more down, if you remember this, I did this a number of times, show you all these trades. When it comes one more down here, when it goes back up and come one more down, that could be a really good buy setup for this to happen. Now there's a chance it's going to work its way down like this and then go up, right? If we take this to be 1, 2, 3, and this comes down. That's a high problem. I would like it to drop as a sharp move, but it didn't. And since it didn't drop as a sharp move, the next possible thing I'm thinking, well, what if it's actually coming down slowly? Well, if it's coming down slowly, you wouldn't know whether it's a slow move down or whether it's just making a correction for upside. You wouldn't know that. Maybe this is making a correction for upside. So once I see a pattern that completes itself, which means once I see this goes back to the top there and start to come down and break this low, I will be looking for a buy setup here, either to correct upwards and then I will close the trade, or to take off and I'll be in the trade. So if it comes slowly, I'll just put the trade at break even. Then if they drop, I'll be out of the trade. But if it takes off, I'll be in that trade. So I'll be looking for a buy setup when this go up and come back down. Now, if you follow me, you might get some of these analysis. The analysis within the week will change. If you would like to get access to our trading room where we trade live every day, 5-6 times a day, you can join our group. Get me on Skype. The Skype is in the description. That's just under the video. Or if you would like to, let's say you don't want to pay for the course, but you would like to have a feel of what we do in our trading room, you can join the installment program, which means you pay for 1 month. And if you like what we do, you continue to pay until you pay out for the course. Now, some traders pay for 1 month, 2 months, then they pay out for the course. Some traders pay for the course in a series of 5 months. Some people take a whole year to pay because they don't have the capital. So they're going to play slowly, and at the end of the year, they're in the group. And a lot of traders who started last year, they're already in the group. Who started paying the start of last year, they're already in the group. So if you procrastinate to that idea, but you would like to be in our group, then you're just wasting your time, because the payment is one-time payment. If you pay for the full course, you pay one time for the rest of your life. Think of the traders who are still with me that paid 5 years ago. He's pretty much enjoying life all for free, because he made one payment and he never had to pay anything else for the rest of his life. And he doesn't have to go anywhere to trade. He's pretty much a seasoned trader now. At 5 years, he's a pretty seasoned trader making money. And not only would he get to trade with my analysis that I'm doing in his own analysis, you get the analysis of all the more seasoned traders we have in the group. We have a lot of traders who've been here for years and are very seasoned and are very good at trading. And they're in the trading room there most of the times, even when I'm not there. So all of that you get for free. That's the most amazing trading community you can find, where you get all this help and you don't have to pay a single cent to be there. So it's up to you to make that decision if you would like to join us. All these charts we did this morning already in our trading room, and we'll probably do them again this afternoon. That is exactly in about an hour from now, 3:45. Now it's 2:55. So less than an hour, I'll be doing the New York session. If you'd like to join us, please do so. To all the people who grabbed the opportunity to join us, they pay for 1 month and have 2 months access, congratulations. You don't have to pay a single cent till at the end of June. So those traders who paid last month, this month, who paid the early of this month and until the 7th of this month, even last month, those who paid last month and up to the 7th of this month wouldn't have to pay any money, not for last month, not for this month. If you paid up to the 7th of this month, you wouldn't have to pay anything until the end of June, because you have access for 2 months. Those of you who would like to join now, you'll pay for a month and you'll get a month access. You're pretty much going to get the same thing at the end of June, or the starting of June. So it's going to be the same thing. So with that, I want to wish all of you good luck. Trade with care. Take care and manage your trades properly. I really don't want to see you lose money. And goodbye. Thank you.